Ethan's feet ached from the 12-hour shift at the diner. His hands were still raw from scrubbing dishes, and the bag of groceries he carried was pitifully light. Bread, milk, and a few bruised apples. But it was enough for Lily, his 8-year-old daughter, waiting at home. The night was unusually quiet, the street lamp flickering overhead, when suddenly a roar of an engine cut through the stillness. Ethan turned just in time to see a sleek black car fishtail around the corner, tires screaming before it smashed headlong into a lamppost. The sickening crunch echoed through the night. God! Ethan dropped the groceries, apples rolling across the sidewalk. Without thinking, he sprinted toward the smoking wreck. The windshield was spider-webbed with cracks, airbags deployed. Inside he saw her, a young woman in a business suit, her head slumped against the wheel, blood trickling from her forehead. "Stay with me," Ethan shouted, yanking at the jammed door. The smell of gasoline burned his throat. He braced his foot against the car and pulled with all his strength. The door screeched before finally giving way, the metal slicing his palm. She stirred faintly, her lips parting. "Please, don't let me die." "You're not dying on my watch," Ethan promised, lifting her into his arms. Just as he carried her away, sparks lit the hood, flames licking up the side. He shielded her against his chest, running until they were clear of danger. Her fingers weakly gripped his shirt before her head fell against him. Ethan's heart hammered. He didn't know who she was, only that she was someone's daughter, maybe someone's mother. And right now she was his responsibility. The ER smelled of antiseptic and fear. Ethan sat hunched in the waiting room, his jacket torn and stained with soot and blood. His hands wouldn't stop trembling, half from the adrenaline crash, half from fear for the stranger's life. The nurse had asked for her name when they rushed her inside, but Ethan couldn't give it. He'd never seen her before in his life. All he remembered was the desperation in her eyes and the way she clung to him. Minutes dragged into an hour. He thought about Lily at home, probably wondering why her dad was late. He fumbled for his phone to call the neighbor to check on her, but his eyes kept darting back to the double doors of the ER. Finally, the nurse appeared. "Sir?" she asked gently. "The woman you brought in, she's stable. She's asking for you." Ethan froze. Asking for me? He wasn't family, wasn't even a friend. Just a stranger who happened to be in the right place. Still, he stood and followed the nurse into the quiet recovery room. There she was, cleaned up now, pale against the white sheets, an IV dripping into her arm. Her eyes fluttered open, locking onto his immediately. "You," she whispered, her voice soft but certain. "You saved me." Ethan shifted awkwardly, shoving his hands into his pockets to hide their trembling. "I just did what anyone would do." The next morning, Ethan returned to the hospital with a small, paper bag, an apple, and a thermos of tea. It wasn't much, but something in him needed to check on her again. When he entered the room, the woman was sitting up, scrolling on her phone with a look of exhaustion on her face. She glanced up and her expression softened. "You came back," she said, almost surprised. Ethan shrugged. "Wanted to make sure you were okay. Brought you something." He set the apple and tea on the bedside table, embarrassed by how small the gesture looked in the sterile hospital room. Her hand hovered over the apple, and for a moment she just stared at him. "No one's ever brought me anything without expecting something in return." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "Guess you've been around the wrong kind of people." She let out a small laugh, then hesitated before speaking again. "I should tell you who I am. My name is Isabella Grant." The name meant nothing to Ethan until she added quietly, "My family owns Grant Holdings. The hotels, the shipping lines, the real estate firms." Ethan blinked. He'd heard of them, they were worth billions. Suddenly, the tailored suit, the luxury car, the way she carried herself, it all made sense. And yet, in this moment, she looked less like a billionaire heiress and more like a lonely, wounded woman who'd been starved of kindness. Isabella's voice broke. "When I woke up last night, the first thing I saw was your face. Not my assistant, not a bodyguard, not some lawyer, you." Her eyes shimmered with unspoken tears. "Do you realize how rare that is?" 2 weeks later, Ethan sat at the kitchen table of his tiny apartment, sorting through bills that never seemed to shrink. Lily tugged at his sleeve, holding up her math homework. "Daddy, can you help?" He smiled, ruffling her hair. But before he could answer, there was a knock at the door. When Ethan opened it, Isabella stood there, radiant. Though dressed simply, her hair down and makeup minimal. She wasn't the polished CEO heiress now. She was just a woman standing nervously in a dimly lit hallway. Isabella? Ethan's heart raced. What are you doing here? She held up a folder and a shopping bag. I hope you don't mind. I tracked you down. I couldn't stop thinking about you, about what you did for me. Ethan glanced past her, noticing a sleek black car idling at the curb. He frowned. You didn't have to. Ethan. She cut him off gently. I know I didn't have to, but I want to. She handed him the folder. Inside were papers, his overdue bills already marked as paid in full. His breath caught. Then she opened the shopping bag, pulling out new clothes for Lily, fresh groceries, even books. This isn't charity, Isabella said quickly. This is me, trying to give back even a fraction of what you gave me. You saved my life, and now I want to be part of yours. Lily peeked out from behind her dad's leg, clutching her stuffed rabbit. Her wide eyes studied Isabella for